Every business owner and manager at one time needs to deal with difficult employees. This is part one of how to deal with difficult employees. Hello, I'm Stephen Goldberg of Optimus Performance, bringing you practical tips and ideas on leadership, team development, and employee performance in the workplace. Difficult employees happen, they come along, you may inherit them, but you need to know how to deal with them. And the best way is through prevention. So in part one, I'm going to talk about prevention or dealing with those most difficult employees. And I'm going to use an analogy called the school dance. Now, most of us who grew up in North America and probably in Europe too, I'm not sure about all parts of the world, most of us have attended a school dance when we were growing up. I'm sure they're probably still going on today. And this was a time when we would go out and have fun with our fellow students, meet new people or meet people that we may know but not know well enough to start dating. So it's a dating platform as well. Of course, today with online, everything now has shifted, but you still need to be physically present with people. So I'm going to use the school dance as an analogy. Now, imagine this to be the auditorium, or where I went to school, it was a gymnasium that got converted into a dance hall or auditorium for all types of events. And there were five types of students that attended the school dance. The first one were the number ones. The number ones were the most committed and engaged students. They were the ones that probably pushed the school to have a school dance in the first place and were maybe on the organizing committee and actually also volunteered to help out at the school dance. So they may have, putting number ones here, been at the desk to register people or to collect their tickets. Maybe they were also at the refreshment. Maybe they were on stage cracking jokes or playing the music or being the DJ. But they were actively involved. And they were also the first ones to get onto the dance floor together to go out and dance. So let me just equate this to the workplace. The number ones are your top, most engaged employees that are committed. They don't need to be told what to do. They know what to do. They go out and they do it. They get others involved. They're the leaders in your company. They're the stars. And those are the ones that you want to get more of if you can. Then you have the number twos. The number twos are motivated, they're dependable, they like to have a good time, but they don't necessarily want to be the stars or get too much involved. You may get a few helping out the ones, but the ones outnumber the twos in terms of participation. But they like to have a good time and easily get up to dance together or with the number ones. So they participate, no issue with them, and you know who they are in your organization. We could say the ones are your stars, the twos are your very good employees. Then you have the number threes. The number threes are the ones that come to the dance, sometimes reluctantly, because they're probably very shy, maybe lack a little bit of self-esteem, self-confidence, and they're often referred to as the wallflowers. So we see them lined up on either side of the auditorium against the wall, chatting maybe with each other, and trying to get up the nerve to go ask a number two or a number one to dance, or maybe another number three. But eventually, what happens is a number 1 or a number 2 will go out and get a number 3, and they'll start dancing, and the other 3s will see that, and eventually some of them may get up the nerve to start dancing together. So those could be equated as your good employees. They're not your very good or top, they're average. They do the work, they perform. You'd like them to perform better, be more committed, take more initiative, but they sit as average employees. Loyal probably, but average. Then you have the number 4s. The number 4s are kind of like the nonconformist, a little bit of rebel. They come to work, they get the job done. Maybe they're different than everybody else, but they get the work done. Sometimes you need to reel them in. They go off on a wrong tangent or something. And when it comes to the school dance, they're also very smart. And what happens is they know what they would want to go to the school dance for. And that's to meet somebody, to start dating perhaps, or have a good time. So what they do is they go to mom and dad and they say, Mom, Dad, I have a date tonight for the school dance, but it's really special and I need to borrow the car to go pick up this person. So they get the car from mom and dad and they go pick up their date. And this happens with quite a few. And maybe they'll find a number 3 to go with, or a number 2 even. Number 1s don't want to fall for that. They want to go have a good time and socialize. So the number 4, they never actually make it to the school dance because they have their passage to go directly to where they want to go, and that's Lover's Lane or whatever they call it today, and go make out and have a good time in their way. They don't need the school dance. They just need it as an excuse to get out of the house and borrow the car or whatever. So they're quite smart, and they're really not that big of an issue. You have some performance issues with them, but they get back on track after a little encouragement or talking to. But then you have the number 5s. And the number 5s are your most difficult employees. And these are the type that will get together, and let's say it costs $5 or $10 to get into the school dance. You got to buy tickets either at the door in advance. But they get together in their little groups and they say, let's just buy one ticket. So one of them buys a ticket, goes in, and then goes around to the back door. And the others are let in by one of the number 5 who had the ticket to get in. They come in, they walk around, they check things out, they disrupt maybe a little bit, they show off. They go out and have a smoke in the back. You're not supposed to smoke at the school dance. They're not even supposed to be smoking. Maybe they have a drink of alcohol, underage. And they just use it as a platform to validate that it's a waste of time, that there's nothing there for them, and they go off in their little herd to the billiard hall or some underage bar or the arcade, where they continue their antics and just putting down everybody else who's attended the dance. And they're what we call the outcasts, the rebels. They don't want to follow the rules. They hate the job, if we equate it to the job. They just want to show up, get their paycheck, and do as little as possible. They don't show up on time often. They're often sick, supposedly. They find ways to goof off, take extended breaks. These are your problem employees. So how do you deal with the number 5s? Because obviously the number 1s, number 2, number 3s are not an issue. Even the number 4s aren't the big problem. It's the number 5, because they spread bad attitude, negativity amongst everybody in the company. And the only way to deal with them, there's two ways. One is to avoid hiring them in the first place. Now, I talked about using tools and tests to check people's backgrounds, to check their work attitude. I'll put links to videos I have on that. I use a test called the Step 1 survey, which helps determine people's attitudes prior to a first interview, so you could really delve into those issues that may come up from that survey. But you want to, if you have them on your team or your company, you want to just get rid of them. Most times you cannot convert them. And what they do is they zap your energy, they create negativity, and they keep you from spending time with the people who really matter. And the people who really matter are the 1s and the 2s and the 3s, the 4s as well. But you want to spend as much time as you can with the number 1s, the number 2s, because those are your stars, those are your dedicated employees. That's where you want to invest, because that's where you're going to get the biggest return on investment. They fit the job, they love the company, they're good at what they do, and you want them to keep building their skill set and take leadership. Those are your future leaders, especially the number 1s. And that's where you want to invest your time. And the only way you can do that is to avoid the number 5s. Either get rid of them or don't hire them in the first place by using proper hiring techniques, tests, and surveys, as I mentioned. So that's the school dance. I hope you find this useful. In my next video, I will cover what to do with difficult employees, how to address that in a very practical way, how to have that conversation, and figure out how you're going to either convert them or get rid of them so that you end up with just good employees or average to excellent employees, and that's what you want in your company. Subscribe so you get news of new videos, especially the one I just mentioned. Check out the articles on the blog section of my website that go along with these videos. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk again soon.